Mheshimiwa Spika, kijana huyu alikuwa ni kijana mdogo sana, miaka 29, kijana ambaye alikuwa anaenda kupewa madaraka ya kuwa meja kwa kazi nzuri ambaye amekuwa akifanya. Na huyu kijana ndio kijana wa kwanza katika familia changa ambaye inatoka maeneo haya. Lakini kitu cha muhimu, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kuweka tahadhari kama sheria zetu zilivyo. Watu wa social media, mambo ya kutangaza vifo kabla haijafikia familia kupitia njia nzuri, nafikiri ni kitu ambaye tulikuwa tumepitisha sheria, na katika social media ambaye watu wengi wanaanza kupitisha ujumbe, familia inapata ujumbe kabla ile official kutoka katika zile sehemu inafaa kutoka, ni kitu cha muhimu. Ya mwisho mia ni makadirio ya mambo ya bajeti ya operations. Mimi niko katika kamati ya environment, na unakuta treasury wanakata pesa ya operations ya ile kugharamia marekebisho ya ndege kama ile helikopta iko katika KFS. Ni muhimu tuangalie treasury wawache kupunguza pesa za operations za maintenance katika
Roeda.
Asante Bwana Spika kunipatia nafasi nami nitoe rambirambi zangu na mimi na familia yangu na watu wangu wa Lamu Mashariki, kwa familia ya General Ogolla na kwa familia ya undugu ya wanaanga, ikiwa General Ogolla yeye mwenyewe alikuwa rubani. Kwa familia yote ya aviation fraternity natoa rambirambi. Pia nichukue nafasi hii Bwana Spika nitoe rambirambi kwa wale wote waliofariki, KDF waliofariki kupitia njia wakiwa kwenye kazi kuchunga nchi yetu. Bwana Spika, Lamu Mashariki sisi tuna kitu kikipata KDF sisi inatuuma zaidi. Lamu Mashariki ndio eneo bunge peke yake walimu kupelekwa shule lazima wabebwe na KDF. Boni Forest yote lazima shule za kule zibebwe na KDF. Bwana Spika, nilibahatika nikawa na General Ogolla kwa ofisi yake tarehe 11 mwezi huu kabla ya mauti yake. Kwa hakika alikuwa na ari ya kuhakikisha nchi imepata amani. Bwana Spika, yeye mwenyewe mimi sikushtuka nikiambiwa kwa nini yeye mwenyewe General ameenda kutembelea hizo shule, kwa sababu yale aloniambia pale, aliniambia yeye mwenyewe atakuja Lamu Mashariki ili atembelee sehemu za Boni na sehemu zingine. Kwa hivyo Mwenyezi Mungu awape familia subra na awasaidie pale kwenye pengo. Asante.
Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues in condoling with the families of the departed soldiers, and particularly General Ogolla, Honorable Speaker. But two things, Honorable Speaker, that I will say that we've learned from the entire event or this occasion that has befallen our country, Honorable Speaker. Number one, best way we can be able to mourn the death of our departed heroes is to restore security in those areas, especially those bandit-prone areas, Honorable Speaker. Number two, lessons to learn that because I really got involved with the whole process of seeing General Ogolla off. Number two thing that we learn is that family is an integral part of our body, of our lives, and of our growth. And for those that have got young families, it's very important for us to raise our kids in the right manner. That is what we learned even from the barrio of General Ogolla. And finally, Honorable Speaker, it's also important for us as politicians to learn not to mourn more than the bereaved sometimes. It's unfortunate that sometimes we allow politics to take center stage. Even when families are mourning, families are crying, we invoke antagonistic politics and try to gain political capital, even when it's unnecessary. And even as we now have the opportunity to mourn in this floor, Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that even from the place General Ogolla hailed from, that is the Luo Nation, very few leaders attended his burial. but they are here today mourning more than everybody else and complaining more than everybody else. It's unfortunate, and we need to appreciate when our sons grow from our areas, when our sons are appointed.
Chairman, Security Committee.
Defense, Honorable
Chairman,
Speaker.
Defense, sorry.
Thank
Nelson
you,
Koech.
Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to condole with the family of retired General, the family of General Ogolla, the deceased General Ogolla, and the other 9 officers who perished that fateful day with him in pursuit of peace in the north part of our country, North Rift. I have interacted severally with General Ogolla, Honorable Speaker, and this is one very consummate professional. I interacted with him as when I was in the Committee of Defense, just as a member, and even more as a chairman, and him being the general. It puts on focus what exactly our soldiers go through, Honorable Speaker, that General Ogolla laid his life so that this, in pursuit of peace within and without our borders. It is important to start scrutinizing and seeing what can be done so that our soldiers, the welfare of our soldiers, can be catered for. It is very unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, that this is the core of our security infrastructure, and we've lost a general. It's something of concern, and as a committee, we will endeavor as much as possible to find out what really could have caused this. But nonetheless, I've heard from honorable colleagues the plea that we should look also on the funding of the infrastructure in our military. It's important, Honorable Speaker, and I'm sure honorable colleagues have interacted with the budget of defense, and you look at the modernization program. It is important that our military are fully and well equipped and kitted for them to do their duties within and outside our borders. Nonetheless, I want to say sincere condolences and to urge the members, especially leaders.
Member for Migori.
Nakushukuru Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Sisi kama Waislamu kawaida tumejitayarisha kufa. Tunajua kufa ni haki, na ni haki ambayo mtu hawezi akachelewesha wala akabadilisha. Lakini tuna huzuni kama watu wa kutoka Nyanza. Huyu alikuwa kijana wetu na tulipeana kwa nchi, na amekufa na tumekubali amekufa. Ila nashangaa, manake kila mtu anapoongea hapa analaumu ndege ya kuwa ilikuwa na itilafu. Mumejuaje ndege hili lilikuwa na itilafu? Mimi nauliza kama Mkenya, na naomba muwe na utulivu, kwa sababu tunachangia kitu cha maana sana, ni kifo cha mtu ambaye ni wa maana sana, na tunahuzunika. Lakini tunaomba mupatie wao wanaofanya uchunguzi nafasi nzuri wa kutuambia nini iliua jenerali. Kama mnajua ndege ilikuwa na itilafu, basi uchukueni lawama, kwa sababu inaonekana tayari mnajua nini kilitendeka. Zaidi, naomba serikali ipeane kwa wale familia, waambiwe pole, hasa kwa General Ogolla ambaye amelaumiwa kisiasa. Hatutakuwa tunafanya utani tukisema hapa tunamhurumia kifo chake na familia, na huku tunamlaumu kisiasa, ila hakukuwa mtu ambaye alikuwa anafanya siasa. Kama wana Kenya, tafadhali tupatie family nafasi ya kuomboleza, na Wakenya waliokuwa wanampenda waomboleze, na tuache serikali na wale ambao wanafanya uchunguzi wafanye uchunguzi, tupate kujua kina kile kilimuua. Kama ni accident, tujue ni accident aina gani, ilifanyikaje, kwa sababu gani, utilafu ulikuwa wapi. Lakini tusipeane suluhisho kabla hata tujajua nini kilifanyika. Nashukuru, naomba Mwenyezi Mungu.
Raso. After that, Majority Leader, then we close there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to General Ogolla and 9 other gallant officers and men and women who fell in that terrible air crash. Honorable Speaker, I know General Ogolla because we joined the KDF just around the same time, and our paths crossed as he grew up in the Kenya Air Force, and I was in the Kenya Army. He was a first-rate officer because he flew the jets that flies further than the speed of sound. But this time round, he didn't die in a jet, but he died in a helicopter that flies low and it flies slow. That is the fate that can befall us. But he leaves a legacy as a professional, a humble man, diligent, who had a focused approach to making defense and the defense of Kenya better. From Marsabit, we lost Mohamed Sora, a young man who just got promoted Tuesday last week. But as a pilot, he happens to be the only pilot flying in the Kenya Air Force from the community of the Boran. So that is what could happen in such a tragic thing. But finally, it is the issue of bandits, lawlessness, impunity, people who have taken over vast parts of this country.
Thank you. Honorable members, I still see a lot of interest. I'll now reduce the time to 1 minute. Member for Kajiado South.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join my colleagues in mourning and consoling with the family of the Chief of Staff, Chief of General Ogolla, and other KDF soldiers who have lost their lives in line of duty. We remember General Ogolla as a professionalist in the line of professionalism and leadership, where he became a role model, and he was able to lead and give a way in the way the KDF should be done. In a special way, Mr. Speaker, allow me to wish the survivors of the crash. One of the survivors, was from my place, the Colonel Koruta Kasaine, and we wish him quick recovery. And as a constituency, we are proud of him, and we thank God for saving his life and giving him a second chance to serve the Republic of Kenya in KDF. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wanjala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Budalangi is a neighboring constituency to Alego Usonga. And, Mr. Speaker, we in Budalangi and the people of Alego Usonga and the Siaya, we were also celebrated to have a senior person in the government. Unfortunately, God loved him more than we loved him. He's gone, Mr. Speaker, but we wanted to be on record that in those areas, many of our gallant sons have died in mysterious ways. We lost Ouko, we have lost Ogolla, and we lost many others that died in such circumstances that cast us.
Ruku.
Honorable Speaker, thank you.
You have a minute, so you better deliver your message quickly.
I said I want to condole with the family and the people, all the families which lost members through the military air crash. Honorable Speaker, I happen to share a platform with General Ogolla in Burundi during the East Africa Special Summit, where he was a dedicated security expert in matters Eastern Congo. Honorable Speaker, at the same time, I want to condemn Omburu Odinga's remarks during the burial of the late Ogora for castigating the young man when his mourning is done. That was extremely bad and uncalled for. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Gishugu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Among the people or the soldiers who perished alongside the General Ogolla are Senior Sergeant John Kenyua Mureithi from Kirinyaga Central and Sergeant Rose Nyawera from Mwea. And I echo my colleagues in condoling all the families that lost their loved ones, and also wish the ones that survived quick recovery. And I urge all the leaders who come from the areas that these soldiers were on duty to sit down, bring their minds together, and come up with ways that they can end budgetary and bring security in those areas. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
John Waluke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take this chance to condole to the family of General Ogolla and 9 others who departed together with General Ogolla. I worked with General Ogolla, Honorable Speaker, together with Honorable Araso there. He was a good officer, and he really took care of military during his time of when he was in office before he departed. Honorable Speaker, I used to see him on the social media when he was going for morning run with junior soldiers, and that is to show that he really took care of that other soldiers, Honorable Speaker. So this day.
Suda. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I would like also to join in eulogizing the late CDF. And I want to say that there are many lessons learned truly, but there's no time. I want to say that in eulogizing the late Ogolla, cultural practices or diversity is upheld in the Constitution. And if given chance to mourn, I think we have not yet fully concluded in mourning General Ogolla. And when you see the region carrying on with mourning General Ogolla, know that it is constitutionally upheld in the Constitution. Number 2, I want to say that this House must learn that when ad hoc committees or any committee of inquiry is formed to provide for a report, and I'm talking from the perspective of what the President said, that he is going to make sure that truth and nothing but the truth is given and provided.
Your time is up. Order, Bensouda. Your time is up. KJ.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I had the honor and privilege to meet General Ogolla and his family. And Mr. Speaker, what a fine gentleman and what a big loss for this country. And Mr. Speaker, it is the book that tells us that you shall know them by their fruits. Through the family, we were able to have a sneak preview of what kind of a gentleman, a person, and what demeanor General Ogolla was. But most importantly, General Ogolla was a teacher who is teaching us even in his death. Mr. Speaker, General Ogolla is telling us that we need to rethink our final rights as a country. We cannot have villages that spend more on funerals than they do on the education of their children. Mr. Speaker, the leadership that General Ogolla has presented is something to be emulated, Mr. Speaker, even in his death. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I just pray that God teach me to number my days so that...
Yes, Robert Mbui.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As grandson of the first four-star general in Kenya, the late General Jackson Kimeo Mulenge, I also stand to condole with the families of the bereaved. And Mr. Speaker, General Ogolla is the first officer, or rather the first general to die in office. So of course there's going to be very many questions. You heard what the son said when there was the funeral was there. He said the father was physically fit, but somehow the father was also preparing them for his demise, which was, you know, those are the kind of questions that we need to have answered. So I think it's important that we hasten the investigations, and if possible, even this House also plays a role in ensuring that we can bring this issue behind us so that Kenyans can also have proper and full closure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Wow. Donya. We are coming this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we continue mourning our hero, we've seen many funerals and we learned so many things. Donya standing here, I can say, for General Ogolla'S burial and the funeral ceremony, we didn't witness women fighting, children coming on board. He led us. He has taught us. We give him a heckle, Mr. Speaker, for his well-behaved way that now everybody is having an appetite for his moral ways in the family. Thank you.
Yes, member for Endebess.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, for letting this House honor our fallen heroes, Chief of the General Defense Forces, General Ogolla, and the other 9 members who died in an aircraft in West Pokot. Honorable Speaker, it's a sad day for our country, and we want to say pole to the family, pole to all those people who General Ogolla made a difference in their life, especially our most disciplined forces, the Kenya Defense Forces, who have excelled in many of the peace missions within the region and even far away. Honorable Speaker, issues of cattle rustling in which he was following up are very emotive issues, and we hope that the government will deal with it once and for all.
Honorable members, we've done a full hour. Allow me to truncate the debate here and call the majority leader as the last speaker on this. Bear with us. There is a motion by Roy that tomorrow to do with the army as well. Please be available to make. Rosa, you've just come in. The people who have been here all this time, they have not gotten their space. Majority leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, allow me to join the House in condoling with the family of General Ogolla and all the other 9 gallant officers, including the pilot, Major Magondu, who lost their lives in the tragic crash last week on Thursday. Honorable Speaker, you remember when it happened, it was Honorable Millie Odhiambo who drew attention of the House to that tragic loss and the crash on Thursday evening, and it was not yet clear at that time what had exactly happened, just as it is not clear yet what exactly led to that crash. Honorable Speaker, I want to say, as the President committed during the funeral of General Ogolla last Sunday, that the government of Kenya and indeed the Kenya Defense Forces have already set up a team to investigate the circumstances that led to that accident, that very unfortunate accident. Honorable Speaker, I can only join the President to reassure the House and the country that the Defense Forces will ensure, as they have always done, in a very professional way, embark, as they have already done, on investigations to ascertain exactly what led to that unfortunate accident, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this also offers the country an opportunity, and it's good that you gave us this opportunity not only to mourn our departed colleagues and great countrymen, but also afford this House the opportunity to reconsider, and I hope the chair of the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee is listening, that at times the military does come before the House looking for resources to modernize equipment. And I've had many members during the budget making process criticize without knowledge the modernization of military equipment. And Honorable Speaker, probably this now offers that opportunity, that as we consider the next few years' budgets, this coming financial year and the next years, to seriously consider modernization of all our military equipment, including the aircrafts that we use, not just in the military, but also in the police, including, Honorable Speaker, the presidential jet, the jet that Honorable Speaker was saying the presidential jet, you remember, was purchased in the early 80s or late 80s by former President Daniel Arap Moi. And probably this offers that opportunity now to reconsider all this equipment, be it aircraft and other military equipment, Honorable Speaker, towards modernizing them to the modern equipment that is safe and good for use, not just by the military, but also other government officers. Honorable Speaker, as we remember General Ogolla and the other 9 gallant officers, Honorable Speaker, let us also remember their families, to pray for those families, and also, Honorable Speaker, to remember that all these military officers give their lives to protect all of us to live in a peaceful and secure country. And we must, as we mourn them and remember the families that they have left behind, Honorable Speaker, and I must commend the Kenya Defense Forces because we have seen the support that they have extended not just to General Ogolla's family, but to the families of other officers who lost their lives, and others, Honorable Speaker, that I know who had lost their lives earlier in accidents, like the one that was there in Gong, and the military and the Kenya Defense Forces continue to offer very good support to those families. And also ask the House, Honorable Speaker, to also consider more budgetary allocations to the military to even be able to offer better.
Thank you, honorable members. We'll end here, and I want to echo what one of you said. Members of this House and leaders from the counties and constituencies in the North Rift, Elgeyo Marakwet, West Pokot, Baringo, Laikipia, Samburu, Turkana, and others. Please sit and talk peace. If we did not have peace challenges in those regions, the general would not have gone there to help construct special schools under special circumstances. Get together, talk peace, embrace peace. You are the leaders. The people who are fighting and raiding and killing each other are the people you lead. Take a moment of your time. Those young people wielding Kalashnikovs and G3s are our boys. Get down there and talk to them. Take them to school, reform them, give them alternative activities other than wrestling and killing each other. We will still be having General Ogolla, we will still be having the 9 other officers. The leadership must start from this House. If you want to amend the law to give an opportunity for you to spend part of your CDF on security issues, so be it, so that you can change the situation. Let's go back to the normal order. Before we call out the next order, allow me to recognize in the public gallery Syokimau East SDA Church Pathfinder Club from Mavoko, Machakos, and the Aga Khan School from Kisumu Central, Kisumu County. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Order. Member for Laikipia, take your seat. Honorable members, I have a message from the Senate on the appointment of senators to mediation committees on the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 11 of 2022, and the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022. Honorable members, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 41(1) of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I wish to report to the House that I have received a message from the Senate regarding the appointment of senators to 2 mediation committees. The message conveys that pursuant to Article 113 of the Constitution, the Speaker of the Senate has appointed senators to mediation committees to consider the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 11 of 2022, and the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022. Honorable members, with respect to the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 11 of 2022, the Senate has appointed the following senators: Senator Julius Murgo Recha, MP; Senator Samson Cherargei, MP; Senator George Mungai Mbugwa, MP; Senator Miraj Abdullahi Abdurrahman, MP; Senator Mohamed Faki, CBS, MP; Senator Eric Okongo Mogenis, Senior Counsel, MP; and Senator Crystal Asige, MP. With regard to the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022, the Senate has appointed the following senators: Senator John Methu Muhia, MP; Senator Danson Mongatana, MGH, MP; Senator Dr. Steve Lutibesi Lelengwe, CBS, MP; Senator Wahome Wamatinga, MP; Senator Jones Mwaruma, MP; Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudhama, MP; and Senator Beatrice Akinyi Ogolla, MP. All members, as you recall, in the month of March 2024, the House rejected the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 11 of 2022, and the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022. This effectively committed the 2 bills to mediation committees pursuant to Article 1112(1)(a) of the Constitution. Subsequently, I appointed 7 members to each committee to represent the National Assembly via communication issued on 7th March 2024 and 13th March 2024. Following the appointment of the senators, the mediation committees are now fully constituted as contemplated under Article 113 of the Constitution. I therefore call upon the committees to expeditiously consider the respective bills and submit versions of the bills for consideration by the Houses of Parliament. In considering the bills, I hasten to remind the committees to be alive to the timelines provided under Article 1134 of the Constitution to ensure the bicameral process is concluded. I thank you. Next.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. 1. Legal notice number 64 of 2024 relating to the tax procedures, electronic tax invoice, regulations 2024, and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. 2. First half National Government Budget Implementation Review Report for financial year 2023-2024 from the Office of the Controller of Budget. 3. First half County Government Budget Implementation Review Report for financial year 2023-2024 from the Office of the Controller of Budget. 4. Report of the Auditor General and Financial Statements of National Heroes Council for the 13 months period ended 30th June 2023 and the certificate therein. 5. Reports of the Auditor General and Financial Statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of A. Multimedia University of Kenya, B. National Environmental Management Authority, C. Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. D, National Environment Complaints Committee. E, KWANZA Technopolicy Development Authority. And F, Center for Mathematics, Science, Technology, Education in Africa. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Honorable Ketanyi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 23rd April 2024. This is the report of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on its consideration of the Economic Partnership Agreement between the European Union and the Republic of Kenya. Thank you.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Murugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, the 23rd April 2024, a report of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its consideration of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairperson, Committee on Delegated Legislation. Chipkonga.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 23rd April 2024. Report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Kenya Millennium Development Fund Regulations 2024, legal notice number 51 of 2024. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Member for Aldai. You have 2 notices. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that aware that the world is rapidly embracing artificial intelligence, that is AI, which is the use of a digital computer or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks commonly associated with the intelligent beings, and acknowledging that the 2022 Government Artificial Intelligence Readiness Index report ranked Kenya 5th in Africa and 90th globally in readiness to adopt artificial intelligence, that's AI, and further acknowledging that the Oxford Insights Report 2022 pegged Kenya's readiness to adopt AI at 40.3%, and appreciating that AI has brought forth positive benefits that have increased efficiency in different sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, and robotics, and concerned that the exponential rate at which the AI is being embraced in society without proper regulatory mechanisms has caused various negative consequences, such as rising case of disinformation and fake news, noting that there is need to protect Kenyans from potential AI-instigated harms, such as privacy breaches, AI-powered fake technology algorithms, and algorithmic discrimination autonomous weapons. This House urges the government, therefore, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, to A, formulate a regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of AI in the country to control potential misuse, and develop and execute public and awareness program on artificial intelligence to raise understanding of AI, foster transparency, and promote responsible use of AI for the benefit of all. I go to the second motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that aware that the government of Kenya has prioritized digitization and automation of government processes and services as part of the Kenya Digital Master Plan of 2022 to 2030, the blueprint for leveraging and deepening the contribution of information and communication technology, that's ICT, to accelerate the country's economic growth, and further aware that the government is committed to consolidating the industrial, academic institutions and other innovators to invest in emerging technologies to create high-quality jobs that leverage on artificial intelligence, robotics, and other technologies, and cognizant of the fact that the Kenya government intends to increase internet broadband connectivity across the country through construction of 100,000 kilometers of national fiber optic connectivity network, and concerned as the country rapidly digitizes services and processes, the high cost of data, internet services, as well as purchase of internet-enabled digital devices may lead to digital exclusion of a majority of Kenyans. Recognizing that there is need to bridge the existing gap in ICT to ensure inclusivity in access to internet and make Kenya a regional ICT hub while keeping pace with the shifting technological changes, and noting that the government's plan for a digital superhighway may not be realized without deliberate interventions to lower the cost data. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the Kenya government, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, formulates a policy to, 1, regulate internet billing by internet service providers by providing metered billing of internet use based on consumption in order to mitigate exploitation and secure economic interests of internet users in line with Article 46 of the Constitution, and 2, require the internet service providers to develop and deploy quality metered billing systems capable of monitoring customer usage, convert to readable details, and creating invoices based on consumption and align their metrics with the value and the customers get from the various internet services. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Vice Chair, go ahead and give notice of the next motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Consideration of the Economic Partnership Agreement between Kenya and the European Union. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on its consideration of the Economic Partnership Agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the European Union, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd April 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8(4) of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the Economic Partnership Agreement between the European Union and the Republic of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Delegated Legislation, Chepkonga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Kenya Millennium Development Fund Regulations 2024, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd April 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, approves the Public Finance Management Kenya Millennium Development Fund Regulations 2024, legal notice number 51 of 2024, subject to regulation making authority publishing a corrigenda to correct the minor errors appearing in regulations 11 and 16. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Member for Mhaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request for a statement regarding the current state of insecurity in the Mhaya constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to requests for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the rise of insecurity in the Mhaya constituency. Honorable Speaker, Article 29 of the Constitution provides for the right of every person to freedom and security. This includes the right not to be subjected to any form of violence from either public or private sources, or subjected to torture in any manner. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, there have been rampant cases of insecurity in the country and especially in the Muhaya constituency. For instance, on the night of 13th April 2024 at the Makaga shopping center in the Muhaya, Northeast Bunyore ward, armed assailants attacked and killed 2 people, a Mr. Edward Atsivirwa of ID number 7350679 and a Mr. Luka Ongaya Hasere of ID number 1971558, who are businessmen and watchmen respectively. On the same night, Honorable Speaker, the assailants raided 3 shops in the area and stole an undetermined amount of goods and money. Additionally, a Mr. Samson Masiele of ID number 31814108 was killed on 23rd March 2024 in a Saba sublocation, a Muhaya constituency central ward, while 3 other people, namely Mr. Benson Maina, Mr. Joseph Achinga, Mr. Kenneth Ochingwa from Luanda, were murdered on February 24th, and their bodies dumped at Muluhoro near Luanda in the Muhaya constituency. Similarly, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Alfred Esikuri was killed and his head chopped off on September 2023 under unclear circumstances. Honorable Speaker, I rise on insecurity within the constituency places area residents in grave danger. Despite several efforts, the insecurity seems unlikely to reduce, seeing that the police stations are understaffed and without equipment such as patrol cars. Further, there seems to be a form of laxity among the law enforcers, which poses great risk to security of both residents and business owners within the constituency. Given that all officers are mobbed up at night, Honorable Speaker, and taken to the border post at Mbali Police Station. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following one, that what are the plans underway to equip the police stations in the Muhaya constituency with patrol vehicles in order to enhance the mobility of enforcing security officers? Number 2, what measures has the government put in place to ensure deployment of additional officers to police stations in the Muhaya constituency? And number 3, when does the ministry intend to gazette the police posts at Ebuhaya, Ipali, and Murembe for use and operationalization to enhance security in the area? Honorable Speaker, I add that the only vehicle which this area had for patrol of officers was taken away by the Vihiga County police boss for his personal use at the expense of the people in the area. And finally, Honorable Speaker, I also add that what are the plans which are underway to bring to book those who actually killed the Mr. Edward Atsivirwa and Luka Ongaya, so that the families may rest knowing the truth? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, Administration and Internal Security, Tongoyo, Razo, that's your committee?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
2 weeks?
2 weeks, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Thank you.
Doris Donya.
Request for a statement, Mr. Speaker, regarding the harvesting and storage of water in the Nyanza region. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding the status of harvesting and storage of rainwater in the region, in Nyanza region, specifically in Kisii County. Honorable Speaker, Nyanza region, especially Kisii County, experiences heavy and reliable rainfall throughout the year. This county is also known to be the food basket of the country, owing to the fertile soil and consistent rainfall all year round. It is regrettable that immediately after the rains, our people flock to the springs and rivers to fetch water. With the absence of proper drainage, The area residents and animals are swept away by the resultant floods, causing deaths. Various attempts to approach different organizations to help in harvesting rainwater have been successful. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation to appraise the House on the following. What strategies does the ministry intend to implement to harness the excess rainfall for long-term drought mitigation? What action plans has the ministry put in place to ensure proper drainage of rainwater to protect our citizens from being swept away by heavy rains and from being infected by waterborne diseases? What support mechanism is the ministry allocating to aid communities in at-risk areas during and after the heavy rains, including emergency relief? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Who is the chair of Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation? Bowen? Is he here? Any vice chair to that committee? Yes, COE, 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raised to just give a point of information to my colleague from Kisii, just to inform her that water is devolved in the counties, and whatever that she has raised here, Mr. Speaker, how I wish she could liaise with the county government, and this can be addressed at the county government.
It is not an argument between neighbors, Doris. Order, I approved your statement, so it's legitimately here. The order. The committee should bring order, Wanjala. You know that is out of order. Go to the bar, bow, and cross the floor. You are the most senior member here. Committee of Blue Economy, you will bring a statement in 2 weeks. Next, John Mukunji, member for Manyata.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44, Section 2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding the operationalization of Rehabilitation Fund. Honorable Speaker, over the years, the country has witnessed a growing problem of drug and substance abuse. Communities across the country have grappled with the issue of drug and substance abuse, with the devastating consequences of addiction adversely affecting individuals, families, and the society at large. In the recent past, there has been an upsurge in the prevalence of illicit brew consumption and narcotic drugs in regions across the country. The unregulated sale and distribution of this harmful substance has become widespread, leading to increased instances of drug addiction and a myriad of social and health issues. This alarming trend underscores the urgent need for holistic strategies to combat substance abuse effectively and holistically. Honorable Speaker, while the government has taken commendable steps through the enactment of punitive regulations and directives, it is essential to complement these actions with practices and policies that focus on prevention, treatment, and recovery services for individuals. Section 53 of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Control Act of 1994 provides for the establishment of a rehabilitation fund to meet the expenditure relating to the running of rehabilitation centers, including the care and treatment of rehabilitated persons struggling with drug and substance abuse. However, despite the provision, there exists a gap in the operationalization and implementation of the rehabilitation fund, which hampers efforts to combat substance abuse effectively as it will provide a necessary alternative to individuals struggling with substance addiction issues. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following, Honorable Speaker. Number one, Honorable Speaker, why the rehabilitation fund is currently not operational. Honorable Speaker, number two, provide a report on the number of rehabilitation centers operated by the government in the country and state what specific measures the government has put in place to help individuals struggling with drug and substance abuse. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chair Health, Bukose. Honorable Bukose, 2 weeks. That is a request to your committee.
Yes.
2
Honorable
weeks.
Speaker, 2 weeks will be okay.
Thank you. Paul Nzengu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to request a statement regarding the current state of allocations for roads maintenance under KERA Development Fund for April to June 2024. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the current state of county allocations under the Kenya Rural Roads Authority Development Fund for April to June 2024. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, the implementation of KERA procurement plan on various roads maintenance projects commenced on the 15th of April 2024. According to the procurement plan and the distribution of the allocations, 4 counties, namely Garissa, Lamu, Samburu, and Vihiga, are left out without any allocation. 5 other counties, being Busia, Kilifi, Laikipia, Tana River, and Kwale counties, were allocated less than 8 million each. Honorable Speaker, 11 counties are allocated a sum of between 21 million and 50 million, and a further 13 counties allocated between 90 million and 170 million. Out of the total of 47 counties, only 3 counties are allocated a sum of a Kenya shilling 240 million. These allocations are very skewed, and neither do they represent the face of the country. It is an urgent matter that requires the intervention of this House, Mr. Speaker, which, if left unaddressed, will unfairly disadvantage many Kenyans. Guided by the provisions of the Kenya Roads Act 2007, the law requires equitable or equal allocation to all concerned counties where KERA exercise is mandate. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, could the Chairperson explain the criteria used to allocate funds leading to the huge discrepancies noted and leaving other counties without any allocation? Number 2, Mr. Speaker, what measures is the government taking to alleviate against the unnecessary discrepancies in funding and ensuring that there is equitable development of the entire country? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Nzengu. Chairman, Transport and Infrastructure. Where is the GK? Who is the Vice Chair? Majority Leader?
The Vice Chair.
Communicate to them that they bring the statement in 2 weeks.
I'm much obliged, Honorable Speaker.
Who is the Chair, Social Protection? Eh? Yes, ma'am. McLeod, are you the one delivering a statement in respect to Lisa Chelule's request?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, upon the request by
the Honorable Lisa Chelule, MB, Nakuru County. We sought response from the Cabinet Secretary for Finance and National Planning as a committee, and I have the response from the Minister here, and I want to respond as follows. This is a submission from the National Treasury in response to the request for statement by Honorable Lisa Chelule, MB, Nakuru County, regarding the failure by the Bilateral Processing Company of Kenya, PPCK, to settle pension dues due to its pensioners. The National Treasury responded as follows. Bilateral Processing Company of Kenya, PPCK, was incorporated on 8 November 1963 as a limited company, a subsidiary company of the Bilateral Board of Kenya, with Bilateral Board of Kenya having almost 100% shareholding, according to the State Corporations Act, Cap 446, being a subsidiary of a state corporation. PPCK is by law a state corporation. Upon the commencement of the Crops and Agricultural and Food Authority Acts of 2013, PPCK assumed the commercial functions of Bilateral Board of Kenya. Agricultural Food Authority, AFA, became a regulator of the bilateral industry by creating a directorate. These reforms in the bilateral industry resulted in liberalization, attracting new players at various levels of the value chain. This resulted to AFA licensing 4 bilateral processors that include PPCK. Other than PPCK, the other bilateral processing companies are privately owned. The Bilateral Board of Kenya Staff Superannuation Scheme was established on 1st January 1991, constituted as a defined benefit. Under the scheme, the employees contributed 5% and the employer 15%. Bilateral Board of Kenya employer started failing to remit pensions contributions around 2003 to the scheme administrator, Parklespan. So, Speaker, the PPCK business performance resulted in losses persistently since 1997. The company for a long time failed to remit staff, statutory, and other employee voluntary contributions to relevant authorities and institutions. So, Speaker, following several reminders by the Retirement Benefits Authority, RBA, for Bilateral Board of Kenya to surrender non-core assets to scheme to avoid members missing their monthly pension, RPA launched a petition in 2012, petition number 24 of 2012, at the Milimani Commercial Court to wind up the scheme. On 1st December 2016, Mr. Speaker, the court directed the scheme to be wound up and sponsors' assets be liquidated to generate funds to pay the pensioners. Subsequently, in adherence to an order of High Court, the scheme was liquidated on 26 May 2017, and the official receiver was appointed. The official receiver, as a liquidator, had explored various avenues to secure funding of the pension scheme in order to settle the debt owing to PPCK pensioners and other beneficiaries. One of the avenues available to the receiver was disposal of non-core assets of PPCK. To date, Mr. Speaker, more than 70 out of 444 pensioners have passed on without receiving their dues. A cabinet memorandum on transfer of assets, the non-core assets of the Bilateral Processing Company, formerly PPK, to the scheme was submitted to the NDITC in May 2021. However, a decision is yet to be made. The PPCK's Board of Directors, at a meeting on 6 May 2022, passed a resolution that approved a transfer of 13 non-core assets valued at 1,151,792,000 to the official receiver to settle long outstanding dues to pensioners and beneficiaries of the Bilateral Board of Kenya Staff Superannuation Scheme. The Attorney General, via letter WC 24/2012, dated 23 May 2022, supported transfer on a non-core assets of PPK to pay pensioners. Subsequently, the National Treasury, via a letter TNT/Pence/12/5 dated 19 August 2022, advised that the transfer of 13 earmarked land parcels to the official receiver to offset the pension deficits awaits the decision of the cabinet. The National Treasury, via a letter TNT/Pence/12/5 dated 15 February 2024, requested the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, to initiate a cabinet memorandum to facilitate the transfer of identified non-core assets of PPCK, formerly PPK, to offset pension deficits. The National Treasury is concerned on the suffering of this group of beneficiaries who have visited us following up on the status of pension dues on the last visit was on 31st January 2024. Towards addressing this kind of situation now and in the future, the National Treasury, as a matter of principle and policy, requires all government entities to manage their liabilities without recourse to the National Exchequer. It is on this basis that all pension schemes sponsored by the state corporations were converted beginning 2010/2011 financial year from defined benefits to defined contribution scheme. This is the order to minimize liabilities of the state corporations and, by extension, contingent liabilities to the National Exchequer. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the National Treasury and Economic Planning remains available to support the committee when called upon to respond to settle on the pension dues to PPCK pensioners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Chelule, you've heard the statement. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to respond to the answers that have been given by the chairman for social protection committee.
Don't respond, you seek clarification even.
To comment, Mr. Speaker, sir, sorry.
Yes.
To comment. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the chairman for being committed to this question. And he was able to transfer the questions to the National Treasury. And the National Treasury, the CS for the National Treasury, has been able to explain in his answers all the chronologies that happened between the BBK and the Bilateral Processing Company of Kenya during that time. And I'm happy to report that I'm satisfied with the responses. And the reason why I'm satisfied is because the National Treasury have actually undertaken to instruct the Cabinet Secretary, the relevant committee, to do a memorandum in relation to the payment of the pensioners. I will have a follow-up, Mr. Speaker, sir, to discuss with the relevant state officers on this matter, and I confirm that I'm satisfied with the responses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.